Welcome back to Old School Sports and our Football Manager 2024 series, Help Me Play as Chelsea Football Club. And we've simmed several weeks since our last episode. The questions I have for those of you willing to help me still continue to grow. It hasn't been the most incredible stretch here for us, which we'll get to shortly. As you can see in the table, we are tied for seventh in the Premier League right now, although Aston Villa does have a game in hand on us at this point. Suffered some disappointing news in the last couple of days. It was a quiet weekend for us with international duty going on. But our number one goaltender, Robert Sanchez, pulled some ankle ligaments, so he will likely miss our next match. Doesn't seem like it's going to be a long-term thing, fortunately. Take a look at how we've been playing recently, and it has not been good. We had that nice four-game winning streak, but since then, we've had some pretty mediocre results against, in a couple cases, pretty mediocre competition. Somehow surrendered 4 goals to Bournemouth on the road, lost 4-3 there. That was incredibly disappointing. A home draw against Aston Villa was not the hopeful result, and now we just had a pretty disappointing effort where we went on the road and got a 3-3 draw against Nottingham Forest. In our defense, we did fall down 2-0 early, came back and tied it at 2, gave up the goal, of course, to fall down 3-2. And then, as you can see, Enzo Fernandez scored his second goal in the 70th minute to get us the draw. Should be a more challenging game against Brentford at home in 6 days from now. And hopefully we can get things right, because you can see the schedule starts to get a little more intense than it has been over the past 3 months, where we've only played 10 Premier League games in the month of December, when we're going to have 7 games. So as many games in December as we had in October and November combined. So we're going to hopefully have to hope that we are in good form at that point, because not going to be a lot of time to really change things as far as our training and our tactics. Taking a look at the table in a little more depth here, 19 points through 12 games, 5 wins, 4 draws, 3 losses. Mentioned the draw with Aston Villa, and then Brentford got the game coming up against them, which will be an important game to hopefully get out of this 3-way tie for 7th in the Premier League. I know I talked about players complaining about the training intensity, particularly the amount of quickness training that we were doing in the last episode, even though when I kind of looked at the calendar then, and you can see there was one quickness training that we had a few weeks ago, but not a lot of quickness training in our repertoire. So just not really understanding these complaints. Just got some renewed displeasure from 3 really young players, which is particularly disappointing. Reportedly unhappy with training at the moment. High amount of extra training they've been asked to do. When I look at Levi Colwill and his training, he's got one additional focus in terms of aerial normal intensity. His individual training workload is medium. Unhappy with the high amount of extra training he's been asked to do in overall. I guess I can take away the additional focus, but it still says his individual training workload is medium. So just not really sure what lever I am supposed to press here to make him a little more pleased with what he's doing. But any thoughts on that would be appreciated. Chuck Wameka, similar story with him. You know, we look at his training, it's a medium individual training workload. Unhappy with the high amount of extra training that he's getting. just doesn't seem like it's that high to me. Could be wrong, but any thoughts on that front are appreciated. And Nanto, the last one, very similar story. He's unhappy with his training. It's a medium overall workload. He does have one additional focus. Training workload is going to lead to a below average level of injuries. Are these guys just whiners? Is that what's going on, or is there something else I can look at with these guys? I did want to point this out with Nanto in particular. You'll remember we bought him just several months ago for about $18 million total, and you can see we think his value is up over 50 million right now, which seems like a pretty rapid rise to me. Any thoughts on why that happened? Did we just get a real good bargain, or the fact that we've played him in the Premier League and he's actually scored a goal for us and had an assist for us as a teenager who recently turned 20 years old? Is that really all it took to potentially get his value up that high? Any insight on how those things work is appreciated as well. Next question from me has to do with scouting and recruitment. And I've played the game before, haven't played it in a while, as we've talked about. And I've also watched a number of videos from people who are much more experienced at this than I am, and tried to set up recruitment focuses that I think, according to the videos that I've watched and what I know, should be generating a lot of players for us to look at. And it's just not happening. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. You can see here we're fully staffed up with 25 scouts at this point. We've got a really good range of high quality scouts, much better than we had when we took over in terms of adaptability, ability to judge ability and potential, and also just having scouts with knowledge and experience around the world. So I feel like, and when you look at these attributes, we've got a big scouting team, and I feel like there's a lot of quality. But when I get into the recruitment focuses, we're just not really generating much of anything. Did a Wonder Kids one here, and maybe with this one it looks like it's defaulted to a tactic rather than anything, rather than just anybody. So I guess that could be part of the issue with that one. But one of the videos I watched, suggested putting searches for players of a specific age and then also a broader search to kind of cast a very wide net. This is looking for 15 to 18 years old, people who we think are going to ultimately have very good ratings. One of the suggestions was to not necessarily specialize as much in terms of areas. I had started the video doing that, and then some of you suggested that that wasn't the way to go, but I don't know if perhaps that's a problem here, is that I'm just casting too wide of a net. But a lot of these searches are really doing nothing. As you can see, no recommendations, no near matches, and nobody in progress. But we've got 2 scouts and 3 analysts working on this. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly what I am doing wrong. And I feel like the scout duties are pretty well balanced. Nobody's got more than 3 focuses. There's a few people, we've got such a big team that don't have specific focuses at all right now that we can change. Similar thing with the analyst team. Don't feel like we're overwhelming anybody. but yet we're just not finding any prospects. And I'm not really sure if it's just timing with the transfer window close. Is it just not a fruitful time to be searching for players? Or should I be focusing on a specific area? Any thoughts on exactly what I am doing wrong? Because there's a lot of scouting searches that come back and it's like nothing going on here. And I'm trying to figure out exactly why we are not finding players. Transfer window is going to be opening up in 42 days, and we'd like to have a lot of scouting knowledge to be involved and feeling confident about the decisions that we're making. And right now, it doesn't seem like we're making much progress, so I've got to be missing something. And if this information helps at all, you can see we've got scout assignments in a number of areas. There's some that aren't assigned. There's some assigned to countries. There's some who are assigned to the world. The world knowledge overall is pretty solid or getting solid with what we've been doing and the scouts that we've hired. So I just feel like we're not generating much in terms of dividends of all of the work that we've been putting in, and I'm thinking I must be missing something or making some relatively simple mistakes. So if any of you have thoughts on what I'm doing wrong, I'm always eager to hear them. And I guess one potential option is to delegate the assigning of the scouts and perhaps the handling of scouting meetings to someone else. If you think I should do that, that would be interesting to hear as well. And before we finish up this episode, which has basically been me just asking for help around training and scouting and areas where I need help, we were going to play out this game between Chelsea and Brentford, 7th and 8th in the table. So a extremely important game here, given that we are tied with 19 points with Brentford and two other teams. And you can see our goal differential is the deciding factor, but we are all very tight, including Manchester United in 10th. So this is going to be a very important game, especially because after the two teams play, we'll have played one more game than Man U and AV as well. So they'll have games in hand on us, unfortunately. And our match is off to a brutal start here with Brentford just going up 2-0 on us. You can see we've got our backup goalie in there in Petrovic, and second goal that he's allowed. The first one was on a horrible turnover. That was just some very nice passing by the opposition, but things are not going well here in this home match. It looks like another opportunity potentially for the opposition coming up right here. Ooh, maybe not. Raheem Sterling. Quite a effort to Conor Gallagher. Moises Caicedo. Back to Reece James. And off of Enzo Fernandez. So come back quickly to change the score to 2-1. Positive to see the team responding a bit to what's been a disappointing start to this match. And things are going a bit crazy here. We just scored a second goal within a couple of minutes. You can see Chilwell with a nice pass to Sterling, and then we just flood the box. A bunch of guys in there. Broha got the rebound and knocked it right past the goaltender there to tie things up 2-2. So after that very disappointing start, we will go in tied 2-2. You can see we're dominating the game, 57% possession, 10 shots, including 5 on target. Our expected goals, we should be way ahead in this match. So hopefully our quality will shine through in the second half, and we'll be able to get out of this fixture with 3 points rather than 1 point when all is said and done, but still have over 45 minutes of work to make that happen. And we just had a nice goal here at the 67-minute mark to take a 3-2 lead. Broha with a nice pass to Mudryk, and then Mudryk across to Lavia. Lavia puts it past. Actually, it looks like it may have even kind of been a little bit of an own goal there, but we will take it. And we should get out of here with 4 points. You'll see Broha here with a nice pass to Mudryk right in front. That gives us a 4-2 lead at the 89-minute mark. So hard to imagine that we're not going to get out of here with 3 points at this point. Looks like we might be trying to pile on here in the 93rd minute. Although a turnover, maybe they will end up getting an opportunity here, unfortunately. But after being down 2-0 in a blink of an eye in this game, to get out of it with hopefully 3 points and hopefully a 4-2 victory will be a good feeling. You can see there's still a lot of time left. And Petrovic is our second choice goalie. Is not always someone we feel comfortable with, but we are going to get the win here today. Hopefully helps break that poor form that we've had in recent games. Ended up with 55% possession, almost 2-1 in terms of expected goals. On target, they had more shots than we did, but we made the most of our opportunities, and excellent performance. Used a bit of a different lineup today, and it worked out. Nice to see Enzo Fernandez, Broha, Lavia, and Mudryk all with goals for us, as a really nice comeback here for Chelsea to get the victory at home in a game that certainly solidifies our place near the top third of the table. And interesting that as we finish up this episode, day after the big victory against Brentford, Chilwell, Nanto, and Chukwuemeka are all still not pleased with their training at the moment. Not really sure what the answer is. We did get some feedback during the past week that Nanto's individual additional focus wasn't really paying dividends, so we got rid of that, and now his training workload is light. But it seems like he's unhappy now, perhaps for a different reason. So again, any thoughts on training are appreciated. Thoughts on scouting are appreciated. Thoughts on anything else that we are doing wrong, most likely, or perhaps right, are always interesting for me to read in the comments, and hopefully help those who are following along in this series make better decisions in their games as well. Until our next episode, thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.